Hey, what's going on, ComicWow.com? This is Comics on TV. My name is Mike.
And I'm Big Rick, and we're here to talk about Daredevil Episode 5, World on Fire.
Awesome. We start every video with me saying awesome.
Because it is awesome, and is there any other word we could really use?
Not yet.
It's amazing.
Not yet.
No? In this episode, we get to see that it's date night for everybody. It's
the date night episode.
Yeah. Wilson Fisk goes on date number 2 with Vanessa.
Foggy goes on a date
with
that
Karen.
he thinks he's
having.
having.
He thinks he's on a date with Karen. And Miss Cardenas, the Hispanic lady, thinks they're on a date.
Yeah. And then we got Matt and Claire.
Yeah, they're not so much on a date as their relationship is blossoming.
Yeah. From the fallout of the last episode, we find Matt, Daredevil, the man in the black mask, taking the heat for what Wilson Fisk did at the end of the last episode, which is destroy a man's head.
Right, he chops off Anatoly's head, and then he sends it to his brother, Vladimir, but they put a mask in it, a black mask.
Oh, he didn't send him. He said, oh, we found him. He's in the alley.
Right.
Well, but he sent the mask.
But
he
did technically send the body.
Gotcha.
But as a message, but putting the mask in there, the message is delivered by Daredevil.
Wilson's like, I want to keep us strong. I'm here to protect you guys. If you need anything, I got you. But in the background,
oh yes,
he is slowly but surely
moving those chess pieces
to how to pretty much destroy them and take them out of the equation.
Right.
Which he calls in a favor.
He does.
With your favorite little, older woman geriatric mob boss.
Oh yes, Mrs. Gao. Well, the connection with all the mob bosses, you have Mrs. Gao and Naboo and all them. Mrs. Gao has her heroin run, and she has all of her workers, and they're blind, right? Which is kind of interesting.
Yeah.
And
everybody trusts blind people.
And they're going to make their deliveries, and they do later on in the episode.
Yeah.
They do make their deliveries to the Russians, and but what's really interesting is back to the Claire and Matt thing. Is you have Claire and Matt are getting to know each other, and that Claire is getting to know Matt very well in regards to his powers.
Yes, she's acknowledging and understanding kind of what it is, a little copper in the air.
Right, but he's giving it to her. He's like, ouch. Oh. She's like, ouch, and he goes, oh, your wound opened back up, and she's like, how can you tell? I smell the copper from the blood in the wound. And then
I thought the fractures thing was really neat.
And she says that you have some hairline fractures, and she's like, how can you tell? Well, when you breathe, I can hear the bones moving. It's like that delicate. And
but those little details is what is making this show fantastic.
Absolutely. And what's neat about that too is that's when she asks him, well, how do you see the world?
Yeah.
And the world is on fire, and they show that through his.
And I love this interpretation because it's absolutely different than what we got from that crappy movie years back, and even the comics.
Even the comics, right.
And I actually like this better because, I think the reason he wants to save the city, he wants to save things around him, is because all he sees
is a world on fire.
Right. It's a great.
Which leads us into the date with Vanessa again. You have, Foggy and Karen are out on their little date. They've met,
we'll talk about that.
They've been doing their stuff, and they meet this elderly lady who is having problems with
we'll call it a tenant dispute, yeah.
And they're eating dinner over at this
They're helping with
house.
repairs.
Right.
Foggy's being sort of charming.
Right.
He thinks he's on a date. He thinks he's making moves.
Yeah, he thinks.
Yeah.
Because every time he mentions Matt,
and I feel bad because he's a great dude.
He is. He's a great dude, and the actor is portraying Foggy in such an amazing manner.
Yes.
But every time he mentions Matt in front of Karen, she's kind of like, oh, really?
Yeah. And he's not picking it up.
Right. No. And then he's like, well, has he ever touched your face? And he's like, no, that's my friend. Well, can you touch my face? And so Matt and Foggy and Karen are touching each other's faces.
So she can satisfy that urge for herself.
Right.
Yeah, because Matt hasn't touched my face yet.
Pervy.
Yeah. But we got to talk about the big part. We got to talk about the messengers and the drop-offs and everything like that, because it's pretty much how we're ending this.
Right.
But it's awesome.
So back at the dinner with
it all ties together.
With Wilson Fisk and Vanessa, he's like, he discovers that she understands who he is. Yeah. She's like, you're a boss. You have power. I get that. He asks her, well, what kind of gun do you have? Would you like to leave? Blah blah blah. And she's like, no, I like you. I want to be here. And he's like, well, I'll give you anything you want, even the city or something like that. And then all of a sudden, boom, boom, boom.
Yes.
All over the city.
All you see is places blowing up, and we find out that they're all ran by the Russians.
Right, and that's where those delivery guys from Madame Gao have just arrived.
And you can almost see the look on Vanessa's face, like she almost has admiration for what he's doing.
Exactly.
Just the way he implemented his plan, just so collected and cool, and it was awesome. So, and then you have Matt in the end of that. Matt, in hopes, to go get the Russians a little bit, finds out, saves somebody, saves Vladimir, because Wilson, through this whole operation, was hoping to just end that. Yes.
But he didn't, which leads us into future episodes.
Yeah, future episodes. But the Hell's Kitchen being on fire, very, very, very big deal for Daredevil mythos alone.
Absolutely.
Fantastic. Please comment at the bottom. Also, check us out on Facebook.
Follow us on Twitter at The Real Comic Wow.
Also, go to YouTube, subscribe, check us out on Vimeo as well.
We have a little thing called Snapchat, Comic Wow guys. Check us out there. And go to comicwow.com and start your profile today. Join the community.
Awesome. Can't wait to review the next episode.